Have a really good think, because somebody you know could earn you a lot of money for very little effort. Think, who do you know that wants to buy a property in Spain? A colleague, a mate, someone in your family, a friend of a friend? If you know someone, go to welcome-estates.com and click the Refer a Friend link. If they buy, you'll pocket a nice chunky thank you from one of Spain's leading estate agents. T's and C's apply. All details at welcome-estates.com.
Hello all you fight fans out there, it's Russ here from Porky's Corner, biggest gob in sport. Today we're joined by Callum Connor from Manchester.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Manchester are you from?
I'm from Middleton.
Callum. Middleton.
It's called Middleton, yeah.
And where are we today?
We're at Manchester Top Team, which is where I train. It's just in Ashton. Yeah.
And you're 23, Callum,
23,
yeah? You've had one professional UFC, MMA, which they call
MMA, yeah. I've
MMA.
had one. I've got my second one coming up next week on April 29th.
Are you looking forward to it, yeah?
Yeah, can't wait, mate. Just a little progress checker, so I'm looking forward to seeing where I'm at and seeing what progress I've made over the past few months.
How old are you, Callum?
I'm 23.
What weight are you going to fight at?
Typically I fight at 70 kilo, which is lightweight in MMA, 155 pounds.
Like middleweight in it as a boxer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Similar, yeah.
In boxing, obviously, there's weight categories every 2-3 kilos, so they're a lot more prominent. You know, there's like light welterweight, super welterweight. Where is in MMA, there's a lot bigger of a gap. You're talking like 10-15 pounds between each weight division. But this fight next week is at catch weight, so luckily I'm not having to cut too much weight and deplete myself too much. So yeah, I've been eating good.
What weight have you agreed catch weight at?
75 kilo.
Do you know we have weight divisions for a reason, don't you, in all combat sports? Yeah. Are you happy with the catch weight?
Yeah, I mean, this second fight it's a little bit of a builder fight. You know, ultimately I want to build my record and get to a stage where I can, you know, I'm knocking on the doors for like a bigger show, bigger promotion. But it's nice not having to cut the weight, because by this point usually I'm living off avocado and plain chicken. Yeah,
chicken breast with no else with it.
No
chips,
no
bread.
seasonings, no breads, nothing like that.
Yeah. I remember Tony Bell, you were doing that day before he fought Adonis Stevenson. You look like a skeleton in fact.
Yeah, people don't see you know what really goes on.
They make you strip it off in strips, don't they?
5 weeks the hardest though, because what you have to do something called water loading, where you're drinking like 9 litres of water every day. Yeah. And you get to a stage where you've got to like cut it in half and then completely dehydrate overnight from the night before the weigh-in to the weigh-in.
To get the water off, isn't it?
Yeah.
And so are you comfortable being that sort of like a light middle-ish weight 155 guy? Are you happy with that? What do you walk around at?
I walk around now, you're talking probably about 81, 82. But that's when I'm eating good. At the moment, I'm training hard, and I've had to focus on my diet really for this one. And naturally, I'm about 79 and a half, so I'm quite lean at the weight at the moment. But I actually started my amateur career at 66 kilo, which is featherweight, but too much of a struggle for me, so I made the decision to move up. That's
like light welter, isn't it?
I don't like being boxed. Yeah, probably about light welter. But yeah, I made the decision to move up, and I just feel a lot better for it in my performance, in myself. Yeah.
Good. Who's training you, Callum, if you don't mind me asking?
My head coach is someone called Carl Prince.
From Manchester, yeah?
Manchester, yeah. He's trained some good names, you know, the likes of, if you heard of Frank May.
Yeah.
Yeah, those sort of guys. Luke Barnett. Someone in the UFC at the moment, Lerone Murphy, Kane Musso. That's just a few of the names.
Well, that's brilliant. You've got some backing from this gentleman here who I know very well, Mr. Gary Cornfirth, Manchester businessman. You're from Clayton, aren't you, Gary, originally?
Yeah.
But is where we had a Chadderton, are we now, or Ashton?
Well, we're in Ashton online here. We sponsor Chadderton Boxing Club.
That's it, yeah. But you're backing Callum to turn pro, aren't you?
Absolutely. I know Callum's dad very well.
Yeah.
From 30 years ago, he used to train me. He didn't do a very good job, but he did used to train me, and all the family actually. And Graham used to call our family the Keep Fit family, because they all was even Jane, our 7 in the mornings, I'd go and have a session with Graham, and he became a friend.
Yeah.
So he'd been to all my girls' weddings, and he rang me up and said Callum was turned pro. He's got good high expectations of him. He needs to do it as a job, and therefore he needs sponsors. So we contributed a little bit. I think you got one or two others, Callum.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. What made you choose UFC, Gary? I thought you were a boxing man. Or was it MMA?
No, I didn't choose. I'm boxing. At the end of the day, if we could have our first world champion on board as a sponsor, that's what I want.
Do you prefer MMA to boxing, Callum?
Well, yeah, that was...
Can I just cut across to you there?
Go on,
I want to ask a question because I'm confused between MMA and what was the other one?
UFC.
What's the difference?
So UFC is just a promotion. Like, it's the biggest promotion in MMA. So MMA stands
so UFC is like Matchroom?
Yeah. Think of it like
so
that.
it's just a promoter?
It's a promotion, it's a company, but it's the biggest company in
right, that's that guy, isn't it?
Have you heard of promotions like Bellator, PFL?
Yeah.
These are just the ones.
Glory.
One championship.
What's the guy called that owns UFC?
Dana White.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, but it's at this stage now.
Right. So even UFC, they're just a promoter. It's MMA that people are getting in the ring doing.
Yeah, mixed martial arts. Yeah. So obviously mixed, just a bit of a.
UFC means Ultimate Fighting Championship, doesn't it? Something like that, isn't it?
Ultimate Fighting Championship. Yeah. But yeah, MMA is it's everything combined. You think of boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, judo.
Yeah, I always wonder. I mean, it's like you watch Floyd Mayweather getting with the top guy, the Irish guy, McGregor. But it's like asking a boxer to fight with one arm, two arms. The MMA fighters fight with two arms behind your back, isn't it?
Yeah.
They'd kill a boxer, wouldn't they?
Yeah, of course.
They use everything.
Yeah, realistically, yeah.
Well, I thought that. Yeah. Floyd Mayweather comes out like
Conor
was glory, doesn't he?
Conor was just at a stage in his career where, he was a massive name. He pretty much took over the sport and made it what it is today. So him crossing over, obviously, was a big money fight. It was massive for MMA, the whole profile of MMA, and fair play to him.
Does he fight under Dana White, or who does he fight?
Yeah, he fights for the UFC. He's probably on the latter stage of his career now. He's a bit older. I think he's like 34. And in any sport, you start to lose your reactions, all that. He's at his prime. Money's in the bank, but
he's into he's on all.
But yeah, just fights for the UFC. I think he's got a fight coming up soon. He's just done a TV show called The Ultimate Fighter, which he's previously done years ago. But he's challenging someone else now. He's looking to fight.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's over the hill, but he's not going to keep competing at the top. He's not. Is he fighting for a world title?
He's definitely fighting at the top level still, but it's whether he can compete with certain guys at the top level now, because he's took prolonged periods of time off between each fight and he's been doing his thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Who would you see being a rival for you in your weight category and age group, Callum? Have you got your eye on anybody, opponents?
It's hard to say at this stage because I'm so early on in my career. I can't pinpoint one name because I could say a guy in the UFC, but realistically, by the time I'm in the UFC, he might have gone on to do other things. Or I've got to be realistic about it. For me personally, I've set myself this goal in my own head, and I've said to myself, I want to be in the UFC by the age of 26, which from this point is 3 years, and I think that's very doable. The UFC is the top company, the top organisation out there, the creme de la creme, the best fighters in the world, and I feel like as a 1-0 pro, the sort of guys that I'm competing with in the gym and outside the gym, I'm up there. And
is the criteria that you've got to reach to be able to get in with Dana White then? Is this anybody, John?
No, it's definitely not. It's a case. There's many routes you can take. Like because the company's that big now, they've started offering like alternate routes. Like if you're a top pro on like the regional circuit, like the national circuit, you can get on something called the Contender Series, which they host in Vegas. So you go and you fight someone else from maybe America's best, or maybe in a certain state in America, you go and fight them. and then whoever wins that, you potentially get a contract if he's impressed enough, or there's like the Ultimate Fighter, which is a TV show, or generally just if you've made enough of a name for yourself in your country, then you get scouted. They have scouts all over, you know what I mean? And then there's something called Cage Warriors over here, which is, they say, is a little bit of a sister promotion. So if you get on that, you do well, you make a little bit of a name for yourself, and then maybe that's a route to the UFC.
So you know, like the 7 years that amateur you've done, is that MMA?
7 fights, 6 fights. Yeah. So
you say 6 fights, but you've been training a lot longer than that, haven't you?
Yeah. So I did something called Thai boxing for about 9-10 years of my life. So that's similar to kickboxing, only you've got the knees and the elbows, and it's just a little bit of a different style. It's a little bit more flat-footed, so to speak.
Right. Did you pick any belts up along the way? Have you fought any belts?
Yeah, I won a lot of junior titles in Thai boxing, because for most of the time whilst I was doing Thai, I was only very young. And I'm young now, but I was very young, so I did well in Thai. And then it was that decision of whether do I go down the boxing route or do I go down the MMA route, because obviously in Thai there's not really any money to be made there. It's a bit of a glass ceiling that you get to a certain level. It's like, where do I go from here? So I was kind of thinking to myself, should I go to boxing, should I go to MMA? And I didn't want to take a lot of the weapons that I already had there, like my kicking, my elbows, my knees. So I decided to go to MMA. It's just an extension of what I already know, really.
Right.
Do you have a strength and conditioning and nutrition advice and all that? And what supplements do you take in that account?
Yeah, well, I've actually got a sponsor who provide me supplements, Applied Nutrition.
Tom?
Yes.
It's a Scouse kid.
Yeah.
You know, I was sat on a plane with him and Peter Fury coming back from Bulgaria a few years ago.
Yeah.
He's a good laugh, Tom, isn't he?
Yeah. So I've recently been sponsored by them.
Loves himself.
Which is obviously very good because they sponsor some top names, so they look after me from a supplement standpoint.
Yeah, that's good.
I have a strength and conditioning coach as well. I recently started working with, probably about a year and a half ago. Prior to that, I wasn't really too clued up on anything like that. If you asked me to take you through a strength and conditioning routine, I won't have a Scooby-Doo. So I feel like it's massively benefited my game. You know, little intricacies in the game, I feel a lot stronger, more explosive. And when you factor in stuff like the wrestling, which is such an explosive-based sport, if you like, I feel like it's massively helped and contributed to that.
You see, we're casuals to this UFC MMA thing. I'm a bit vulnerable here today, so I'm hoping that if I ask you out daft, you don't laugh. But obviously, what fascinated me about UFC, the first time I was ever around any people like that, I saw Rico Verhoeven training at Bolton on Halliwell Road at Peter Fury's. A few years ago, me and my mate Frank went over, and what I noticed about him, his legs were like concrete. So were Tom Aspinall. Have you met Tom?
I've not met him personally, but
yeah.
You know, I know
he's a good friend. He goes over to Peter's gym and does bits. He's a good friend of Frank. Matt Smith, my friend, his dad, Andy and Frank are good mates. But point I want to make is the legs always look like concrete, don't they? And how do you get them like concrete? Because if you get a whack in a pub by a concrete leg, you're going down, aren't you?
Do you know what? My legs are probably my biggest attribute, to be honest with you. I've got big legs, although it's not clear to see right now. I've got long legs, I've got big legs, but I put that down just to the years of kicking.
Yeah. Well, just repeatedly kicking the big back with your shin.
Back, yeah.
And just what does it do? Toughen the bone up and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know the science behind it, but I'm pretty sure because you're kicking with your shin. I think what occurs is little micro fractures in your shin, and just over time they re-harden. That's what I've heard. I don't know whether it's true or not, but as for the actual leg muscles, I think it's just the consistency of just kicking.
It's a bit like John.
It's like if you
running out, John.
Yeah. Realistically, if you look at most boxers, they have very skinny legs. Don't they? But upper body wise, they're very built around the shoulders, triceps, biceps. Whereas I'm pretty much all legs.
Yeah, well, it's mainly all legs anyway, isn't it? You're a lot of ground game, but looking at you spend a lot of time on the floor, don't you?
And it's like what I was saying there about the wrestling. Just to keep you in the loop, I don't mean the wrestling like WWE wrestling. I mean like it's an explosive form of wrestling. It's like you're talking about double leg takedowns, all that sort of thing. So it's a lot of explosiveness, you know, how to drive, push off the legs, try and take someone down. So yeah, you have to have a strong base.
Your first pro fight, they actually smashed him, didn't they?
Yeah,
smashed
I did.
him to bits, and hopefully you're going to do that on the 29th, Callum.
Absolutely, mate, absolutely. Yeah, my first pro fight was a first round finish.
Awesome.
And I'm looking to do the same thing next week.
Are you serious?
Like I say, these are really just, you know, building into my career. I'm not taking the hard fights just yet. Although I did have a very hard amateur career, you know, I had a lot of tough fights at amateur. And I flew through my amateur career very, very quick. I was probably one of the most active in the UK actually. I think I fought 6 times in a year or something ridiculous like that. Which, when you factor in, you know, brain trauma and taking punches to the head, it is a lot. You know, you're not really giving yourself time to heal. So it was like a case of going from one camp to the next. But what I feel like I've gained from that is, you know, valuable experience in the cage. I found myself in there. And yeah, I'm looking to do big things in the next few years, for sure.
Where do you see yourself in 2 years from now, Callum?
Like I say, I have a goal in mind, and I feel like by 26, I'll be in the UFC for sure.
Yeah.
The way I see it for myself is, you know, I think about these things, and I feel like giving myself adequate time to just build into my career. There's no rush. I'm very young. Take each fight as it comes. I'm looking to get on a bigger promotion sort of towards the end of the year, definitely early next year, but the UFC is always the main goal, and I feel like I'll be there by the age of 26 for sure.
Callum trains 4 hours a day, 6 times a week, and this lad's going places.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I ask you, you know, the boys that you're training with here?
Yeah.
Is there anyone?
Yeah, we've got a few good guys. To be honest, there's the talent's through the roof here. Like, even the amateurs are very, very good. Obviously, with MMA being a very new sport, it's just on the rise, so not many people maybe know about it as much as they would maybe boxing. But yeah, there's a lot of good guys. There's a guy called Lerone Murphy who's in the UFC. Who's on the come up at the moment. He's doing very well. He's undefeated. He's been in the UFC for a couple of years now. We've got guys in Bellator. You've got the likes of Kane Musa. Like I say, the amateur talent is very, very good. Doing very well on the regional circuit. We've got guys who are fighting out in Abu Dhabi. Yeah. So
you've got a good amount of guys to fight.
Got a good amount of guys to train with, really. And
yeah. They all fight each other as well, don't they? They don't dodge anybody, do they?
No, absolutely not. That's what you will find with MMA. It's not really like boxing in that sense.
Tell me about
you know, you're gonna get the best quality fights, but as I was just saying there, you know, there's a guy called Lerone Murphy in the gym who's currently in the UFC. You know, he's a bit of a household name. I do a lot of training with him, a lot of sparring with him, so it's a good progress checker, you know, to know where I'm at, competing with these top level pros. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which UFC MMA guy do you aspire to be, Connor?
I don't aspire to be no one, mate, because at the end of the day, I'm on my own journey, I'm on my own path. Yeah. You know, these guys I like.
You take stuff from the games and that,
yeah, absolutely.
McGregor's
even in boxing, these guys I look at and I'm like, oh, I like him, or I'll take a little bit from him. Maybe just a single punch. I think he throws a certain shot nice, and I'll try and practice it a little bit, maybe. And again, these guys in MMA who I really like, who I like watching more so than others, but I don't try and aspire to no particular man. I'm my own man. I'm on my own journey, and when it's all said and done, you know, someone might be saying, "Oh, I'll be like that Callum Connor guy."
When are you looking at getting out again, Callum?
Fighting. Like I say, I'm fighting on April 29th, which is only next Saturday. I'm feeling a great spot, and I'm just looking to keep the momentum going. And by the end of the year, I'd like to be 4-5-0 for sure.
Where's that you're fighting, Callum? If anybody wants a ticket, where do they go?
Yeah, so for tickets, contact me, contact Manchester Top Team, contact Budo Fighting Championships. Come to me, really.
Do you have a social media handle?
I do. It's at CallumCon_99.
So it's at CallumCon_99. Is that your Insta?
CALLUMCON_99.
Are you on Twitter or anything
I'm
else?
not on Twitter. No.
You just do Instagram. Yeah, that's brilliant. Have you got anything you'd like to say, alright, Gary?
No, just to wish Callum, best of luck in his journey. I hope he does well.
We've got a good running coach here for him, haven't we, Gary?
Yeah, John.
Yeah, I've been talking about the running with Callum. He does so much cardio, but he can't do too much cardio. He does the cardio on the backs.
At least if he goes out with you at night, John, he won't be drinking alcohol, will he?
Sparkling Martins.
John's nickname is Sparkling John, by the way. For anyone who doesn't know, you go in the pub with John.
He knows how to train, he knows how to eat. Next world champion.
Knows how to drink.
Well, let's hope so, but it's all positive stuff, that, isn't it? But it's up to you, Callum, isn't it? You've got a good opportunity, haven't you, now?
This, like you say, it's all down to me at the end of the day. I've got to be accountable for everything I do in my career, the decisions that I make, and you know, I'm going at it full blast, 100 miles an hour, you know, and there's no one as committed as me in the game. I truly believe that. Like, you come in here every day, I'm here.
So
yeah,
when would you like us to come back and interview you again, Callum?
Next week.
Once a month, once a quarter, 6 months?
Absolutely. Once every couple of months would be great.
You want us to come around once a month or something?
Yeah.
10 times a year?
Would that put you under too much pressure monitoring you?
Never any pressure. Never any pressure. No.
Oh, we'll do
Come back
once
in,
a
mate.
month.
When it's second pro fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get this fight on the
second pro fight when
under
he's
his belt.
going to smash this other lad up.
Yeah.
Do we still come if you get beat?
Still come, mate, yeah.
He's not going to get beat.
No.
Well, just have a turn camera to look at this gym here, 'cause it's a great gym, this, isn't it? Got everything here, haven't they?
And is there any of your mates you want us to see or anything? Well,
I can ask about
do
if
you want us to video the boys or anything like that?
like on the mats.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do for sure. For sure. Let me ask one of the
We'll
coaches.
just help build a profile of the gym and stuff.
Alright,
that
yeah.
sort of thing.
Absolutely. I'll speak to one of the coaches. Yeah, for sure. That's not a problem at all.
Alright, well listen,
Great.
thanks for coming on, Callum. All the best in
No
your
problem.
future.
Yeah.
As an MMA fighter, you're a young lad. Make every day count.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Alright, but don't forget, you know when you get up in the morning and you don't fancy it, that's when you should pack in.
That's when you should.
Alright?
That's when you should get here.
Get what?
That's when you should come in.
Well, no, I'm just saying though that if you don't want to come in and you're missing sessions,
yeah, sure.
get out of it, because it's not like boxing. You're getting kicked in the head, aren't you? Knees and all sorts, aren't you?
Yeah.
So make most of your don't waste your opportunities.
No, absolutely.
Yo, John,
He's dedicated. He's not going to miss.
have you known him long, John?
I haven't, no. But it's short.
Because you're making a lot of noise.
I want to see. I want to see something.
How many fights have you seen him have, John?
I've watched his amateur fights.
Yeah.
His last amateur fight, it was brutal. Absolutely.
Brutal. Thank
But
you. Yes. You've seen that, in John.
you want to see it. This lad's
What
tough as nails.
do people need to do, Carl, to see your
And his
fight?
first pro fight,
If
he actually smashed him.
Good.
If you head over to YouTube, you just type in my name, Callum Connor, MMA. You can see pretty much all my amateur fights there. Probably the best one you can watch if you're into a fighter's fight is my last amateur fight. It was a title fight against a lad called Callum,
Yeah.
fighter himself. But yeah, it was a brutal 5-round war.
What was it called? Charlie Spence?
Charlie Spence, yeah. Charlie Lynch Spence.
I'm going to watch
One
it.
to watch.
Right. So if you want to watch a good fight, what's it called, Callum?
Callum Connor versus Charlie Lynch Spence.
Is that an amateur fight?
It's an amateur fight, but probably one of the best amateur fights you'll see from.
Callum Connor versus Charlie Spence.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to watch it.
You take care then. All the best.
Yeah.
We're joined by
Lewis McGRILLEN,
Lewis McGRILLEN from
Manchester top team.
Manchester top team. How old are you, Lewis?
I am 22 years old.
You're a bantamweight,
And
7-0 MMA.
Yep.
How long have you been doing it?
I have been training MMA about 7 to 8 years now, coming up, yeah.
Yeah. Do you like it?
I love it. It's the job now.
Yeah.
Even when I first started training, like, I knew I'm heading in this now, so even when I was an amateur, I was taking it like as a job as being a professional standpoint, and now I'm actually getting paid to fight now than just being an amateur. So
Yeah. What made you do UFC and not boxing?
well, I don't know. It's just like I feel like MMA is kind of like the new foundation of fighting now. It's all around combat sports and such. And I'm a big boxing fan. Love boxing. I grew up watching boxing, even training boxing. But I feel like MMA is where it's at now because I feel like it's fights more true fighting in my opinion, because it's not just your hands, it's everything, kicking, submissions, grappling, it's all in one.
Do you feel that not everybody fights each other in boxing, Lewis?
Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. Like if you look at the fights back in the day, like is it the golden era of boxing, like the 80s or whatever, and you see like you get your Roberto Durans, your Sugar Ray Leonards, and they're all just having it out, and I feel these days it's a little bit more protected just due to money and politics, etc. I can't really judge on that side because it's not my sport, but it's not. Don't take a rocket science to realise that, innit? Yeah.
Yeah, it's nailed it there, didn't you? I couldn't put it better, could I? But who's the best UFC MMA guy in the world, in your opinion, pound for pound? Do they call it pound for pound?
Yeah, pound for pound. Yeah.
Who's best in your opinion?
John Jones.
John Jones.
John Jones is definitely the greatest of all time. I think not just pound for pound. Like his resume is amazing. He's literally he was the youngest light heavyweight champion in the UFC, and he just beat all the best guys like you and all who could beat him, and he just made them look like nothing.
Yeah. Who's the main
Has
guy?
he beat McGregor, by the way? Can you assess that?
Different weight classes. Yeah.
Who's the big heavyweight guy, Ongano, who they're talking about fighting Tyson Fury? What's his story, that big Ongano dude?
He wanted more money with the UFC. I don't know what's going on in politics. Politics in MMA as well, man. And something to do with contract negotiations, and then he left, and I think now he wants to pursue his aspirations into boxing now. I think it's where the money's at in it with boxing. Definitely.
What about Michael Bisping? He's from round here, isn't he?
Yeah.
You met him?
Yeah, Michael. I've never met him, but
he's good, isn't he?
I've watched him fight. I've watched him fight twice.
He's won world championship, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Is he only world champion from Manchester, Michael Bisping, then in that sport?
He's actually from Clitheroe, but
that's out Burnley way, isn't it?
Regions, yeah, he's up there, but he had a bit of a tough road because from like a skill standpoint, he had never had the best skill set, but what he had was like an unbreakable mindset. He just was relentless, and he knew what he wanted.
Like a frog.
Yeah, just hard.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen to women's sport with this now? Because I used to watch it a few years ago when the film stars now, aren't they? Serrano, is it? And what's the Ronda Rousey? Didn't they fight?
Yeah.
What does she still do it?
She doesn't do it anymore. She does WWE now, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Wrestling now.
Yeah, it's professional, like fake wrestling, professional wrestling,
Yeah,
whatever.
that's not for you, Lewis, is it?
No, it's not real.
It's not a bit like boxing.
Yeah.
Who's best female out there at the moment? Because I noticed they've got some female UFC fighters here, or MMA, whatever we call it. Who's best female one here then?
In the gym,
In the gym?
Yeah.
What?
It's the core, is it?
Yeah. There's two very, very good girls. There's one called Dakota Ditchever. She sometimes trains her with those guys. She's in the same promotion as Lewis, PFL. Both of them are probably going to be superstars. This kid's probably going to be a superstar in about 2 years' time.
I've heard your name actually before in these but obviously it's new to me all this. I'm mainly boxing, but I've heard your name. I know you had a couple of fights, didn't it? Who was 7? So I've heard
yeah.
Who's best kid you fought?
Oh, I'd say. Well, I think Sheldon Ryan, personally, his amateur career was very, very good. Like I even fought a Brazilian called Romeo Reyes, and he had his record was a bit mad, but he was just one of them gritty fighters where you could change the fight just like that. Like I swear he had 4 KOs by a flying knee, one in 4 seconds, and that he's a crazy Brazilian fighter. And I think definitely he was probably classed as my toughest matchup, but I think he was definitely the most dangerous. Definitely. Yeah.
Who's the hardest kid you've sparred, Lewis?
Hardest kid to spar? There's a few, There's a few. I think at my weight class, definitely Louis Lee Scott, Louis Lightning, who's on the mat right now training. He's my best sparring partner. His footwork's so good, his kicks are on point, his timing, everything, he's just class, and he's a perfect body for me who I can spar with, who I could end up fighting as a technical fighter in the future maybe. And I think Louis has got the best footwork I've ever gone with.
What about this kid here that you sparred him, Callum?
A bit bigger than me. You're bigger than me. Yeah.
Don't you do any body sparring or any
Yeah,
light
we've done
stuff?
little bits, like we've had like a cooperative style of training where we've helped each other get some good grappling rounds in.
Yeah.
Obviously Lewis is very good, he's a little bit more ahead of his career at the moment, he's done a longer period of time. Longer period of time than me, but he's got a left hand that'll knock out a bull. Just go look at his fights, seriously. Yeah.
What's your fight, best fight you've had on YouTube?
I say Sheldon Ryan, but if you look at that now, and as my most recent fight was literally 3 weeks ago, you can see how much I've evolved. Even just in my fights, I'm getting better. But I think my favourite fight definitely was Sheldon Ryan, because for how good he was known to be, I broke him down, dissected him, and then I got the knockout from the fight. Yeah.
You know, obviously you're young lads in your early 20s and that. On an evening, what do you do on an evening? Do you stay at home and get in bed early, or do you go out with your mates, or what do you do?
To be honest, yeah. Eat food.
Yeah.
Eat food.
No, do you know what? Most of my mates are in here really. Like, you know, I've got a handful outside of here, but really, like, I see these guys more than the actual family.
Do you feel that knocking around with wrong people outside of your job here that's what will bring you down? So that's what I tend to find in boxing.
Yeah, you can't have any outside distractions with a game like this, where it's really a game of centimetres. You know, when you get in there.
Still that, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it really is. So you can't have these outside distractions. You've got to be 100% in and all in, and that's it. I've said this on a few interviews, but our coach said something like, if you're 99% in, you're 1% out, you're all out.
You're all out, yeah. Really, that's what I say about.
It's like if you chill with, like, if you're surrounded by sessions, for example, you're with 5 sessions, you're going to be the 6th.
What's a session?
Like someone that's got a partying.
Oh, a session.
Yeah. If you've got
Manchester.
Yeah, it's slang, mate. Sorry. Excuse me, slang. But if you're around 5 party heads, party people, you're going to be the 6th party person. If you're around 5 MMA fighters, you're going to be the 6th MMA fighter. You're around 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th millionaire. Do you know what I mean? Well, anyway. But
that's what your coach told you, Lewis, didn't he?
Yeah, I think that could actually work, I guess. Yeah.
Listen, that's the best thing. Stay away from pubs and women and drugs and all that, and you'll be alright.
Yeah.
But treat yourself to a nice car if you get a few quid, and live at your mum's and just train hard.
Yeah.
Until you get on map, and then you go get your house, don't you? No, stay away from women and all things that are bad.
That's it.
It's all very. Listen, I've seen it before. I'm gonna tell you a little story, right? And you won't mind me telling this story. Liam Cameron, he was one of our fighters. He won Commonwealth title and he had a defence of it. And he had Audi dropped off outside the arena, his new car. And he went driving off in it after a pint. And he thought he had his lights on. He didn't have them on. Police pulled him up, he had a drink. Took him, luckily he got off it, but it could have gone the other way, couldn't it? Yeah. You know what I mean? So stay away from all that. And you can do that when you're Frotcher's age, can't you? Now he goes out and has a drink now, doesn't he? You can't do it when you're in train, can you?
Yeah, you got a point.
Have you got girlfriends like you two?
I've got a girlfriend.
Ooh, could bring you down, Lewis.
She's good to be fair.
She understands and that.
Yeah, she understands. She cooks on my meals and that when I'm dieting and such, and she's good like that, yeah. But
I don't think Scott Quigg had a girlfriend, did you?
Is she a fighter? Nah, you know. No, but she likes what I do, innit? She respects what I do. And she knows, so like, I had to put her first over her, so she respects that, yeah. But,
Where's your next fight?
I'm fighting. Bro.
Go on, so we're still okay. Go on. Alright, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'm fighting in Germany, July 8th, from the PFL, yeah. Berlin, so that'll be a good one, yeah. Right. To go over there, yeah.
What's that? And are you on social media, Lewis?
Yeah, I'm on social media.
So what's your...
My Instagram is LewisMCGMMA 2000. Yeah.
Before Gary corrupted me, I was going to ask you now. Scott Quigg used to be John Gallagher's fighter. He believed in not having women and not going out and all that, and he got the most out of his career. I'm not saying he was Mayweather or anybody like that, but he won British title, didn't he? He won a world title.
Yeah.
And I just think that so many young lads now, they can get distracted by, nice looking lass in the 20s. They can be distracting, can't they?
Yeah. We're all partial to a nice woman out of them.
Yeah.
Oh, chinks in armour, Gary, did you spot it? Already.
Keep me head screwed on, mate, yeah.
Stay away from women, weak and legs.
That's true.
Remember that. And the week in your pockets as well, your wallet.
Yeah.
Too much money, mate.
Yeah.
Trust me, John will testify to that. They take half, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
All right then, Lewis. Well, listen, all the best in your career and you, Callum. I hope you do the best you can. Get the most out of your career. Don't be one of them coulda, woulda, shoulda. You know, sat it pull.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, could have been a fighter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Game. You don't want to be one of them games guys, do you?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm too. I can't sit still like thinking like that anyway, so I'll have to be a doer anyway. So I'm gonna put it all out there.
Well, listen, all the best then, chaps.
Thank
Alright,
you.
peace out. Porky's Corner is proud to be sponsored by Spartan Site Solutions. They are specialists in civil engineering and demolition contracts for the construction industry. Interested parties should visit their website or contact Porky's Corner for a referral at porkycorner@mail.com.